Well, good morning. My name is Tom. Welcome to the woodshed. That's a rustic log cabin up here in northern Maine. Well, today's video gonna be a little bit different. Usually I'm talking about building fires and lean-tos and all of that. But we're after the election now and things are a little bit in turmoil. So I thought I might give you a perspective from a woodsman. And part of what this channel's been about for several years now is being just plain prepared. Now is a good time to prepare. It's not too late. It would have been nice to start preparing 6 months ago or a year ago, but it's not too late if you're just getting started. So I don't want this video to be a downer or anything like that you can't make some preparation now. But the thing is now is to act. Regardless of whether Trump gets in or Biden gets in, I am a gun person, so obviously I want Trump to get in. My guns mean a lot to me. That's my lifestyle. Been that way for my entire life. I cannot imagine life without hunting rifles and just plain rifles to be able to defend myself. But I want to talk about preparation. I don't want to talk about guns. I don't want to talk about politics or any of that stuff. What is what it is. It's not time to give up. That's far from what this video is about. But you probably need to prepare if you haven't already started. Try to find yourself some bulk foods, stuff like that. Don't worry about getting yourself 100,000 rolls of toilet paper and all that. That's, yeah, man, you can wipe your ass with anything. But have you ever tried to eat a roll of toilet paper? Well, there you go. That's where I'm coming from. We ate food a long time before toilet paper ever came on the scene. I've been saying right along in a few of my videos that I think we're in for some tough times. We might be. Now if Trump gets in, well, maybe we'll have 4 more years of what we just went through. For most of us, I don't think that was that bad. Gas prices were a little over $2 a gallon here in the state of Maine. That's pretty nice. Been plenty of food up until just recently. So that's been pretty nice. We live a pretty comfortable lifestyle. But things might change here for a little while. I personally think about a year. I personally think it's going to take about a year for things to simmer down. Hopefully. I mean, give it some thought. You know, we took, and even now I see that I see we're getting ready to go into the winter months, and looks like some of the numbers are climbing. I don't necessarily think it's life-changing climbing, but it is something to keep an eye on. But take time right now to set aside not only some cash, but more so than that, is set aside some skills. Some of the skills that I've covered in these videos over the last 3 years are because that's the way I live and that's my lifestyle. And you can incorporate that into some of your lifestyle. Everyday life is a skill. So take from my channel some of these skills that are in there. I mean, there's over 200 videos now that you can incorporate into your life. Start putting away some food. Learn how to preserve food, stuff like that. How to smoke fish and catch fish, and go to the store, buy some meat, figure out how to preserve it. Putting it in a freezer is not the best thing to do if you're going to start putting food away for the next year or the next 6 months. Meat only has a shelf life of so much time in a freezer. It's not indefinite. So there are other ways of taking care of meat. Smoking it, uh, marinating meat, stuff like that. Canning meat. I'm a meat eater. I'm a vegetable eater too, but I really like my potatoes with a piece of steak. So, take from this channel some of the stuff that we've been putting out here, because I think for the next year things are going to be a little bit tough. And hopefully after that, hopefully we will start to get back to some kind of normalcy. But, who knows? One of my viewers asked me back in the summer to do a follow-up video on, because I spent a lot of time at the lean-to last winter while we were in self-isolation, and wanted me to do a video. I think his name was James. So James, this is for you. If not, then it's still for you. But it's for everyone. But he asked me to do a follow-up video on life after self-isolation, or to that extent. Well, it hasn't really changed that much for me, anyways. Self-isolation is just part of my lifestyle. I thoroughly love being out in the bush alone. I'm comfortable, so that stuff hasn't changed. What has changed for me is preparation. I put a lot more stock this year into preparation for the next 6 months to a year. What do I mean by that? Well, I fished harder. I wasn't able to videotape a lot of the fishing because I was concentrating on the catch and concentrating on preparing the food to last. That means canning it, freezing it, smoking it, different stuff like that. And videotaping takes a lot of time. So I tried to catch some of the high moments to keep everybody on top of what I am doing here at the cabin and how I am preparing for the next year. So the fish that I went after is in most eyes would be considered a junk fish. I fished a lot for white perch. I love white perch. It's a good eating fish. And the reason I went after it is there's no limit. And you can get the family involved, and that's exactly what I did. I invited family members out in the boat so that we were able to run 3 or 4 fish poles at a time, which makes for a lot more white perch in the boat. So I was able to freeze up somewhere in the vicinity of 300 white perch. I'll be having those for supper tonight here at the cabin. I'm going to roll them in a batter, deep fry them, and throw some homemade French fries on the side of it, and that'll be my supper here. But in my freezer and in canning jars, and white perch is excellent in a canning jar. If you hadn't had it, you ought to try it. It is that good. But all you do to prepare a fish for putting in a canning jar, you clean it like you normally do, and then you cut the tail off, and I take off the big fins. I leave the skin on. The white perch, I will scale them, and then put them in the freezer or in canning jars, one of the two. I have a lot in the freezer right now, and in December, when I have more time after hunting season, I will take what's in the freezer, thaw it out, and I will process it in a canner and put it into quart mason jars. If you haven't stocked up on quart mason, not quart, I mean pint. I have quart, I have pint, and I have half pint. It's another one of those things, if you haven't stocked up on those kinds of supplies, you don't have to have 1,000 of them. But having 30 or 40, or having 100 of them, that's probably a pretty good idea. Because you can eat out of them, and then you can refill them. So that's why you don't need 1,000 of them. The more the merrier. But if you just starting out right now, collecting this stuff, it's going to be tough. Same thing, just a lot of things like that. Being able to be self-reliant here in the near future, a lot of that stuff is going to be hard to get your hands onto. But try. I urge you to try. What you do, you just keep looking. Looking online, looking in stores. I've done that with several items that I've needed for that I can't get in this state. And by going online and looking and looking and looking, once in a while it'll pop up. It's not there very long, but it'll pop up available. And at that point you purchase what you need, whether it be canning jars or the covers, or I'm a reloader, so some of my reloading supplies I've stocked up on, because that's how I put game in my freezer, is with my rifle or with my shotgun. And the same thing with my boat. I've stocked up on supplies for the boat, because next spring I'm going to need that boat to replenish my supplies. Because I don't believe that in the near future that the way we knew things is going to be the same. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but if absolutely everybody is in need of one particular item, you're not going to get it. If you haven't found that out yet, you shortly will. But and learn how to make. I've got videos on my channel about making homemade bread in a cast iron pan on top of the wood stove or on top of a campfire. Go in and search those videos in the archives and find them, or I can give you a link, whatever. But go in and find that stuff. Because then you can make something from nothing. You can go to the grocery store. You can find yourself some flour. That bread recipe is very good, very simple. I got my recipe on that from Hunt Shack Wilderness Experiences. I always want to give him thumbs up for that, because it's a real simple bread, very easy to do, and it's a staple here at the cabin now. Flour, water, and a little bit of sugar, I guess. I got to look at the recipe again. But it's in my channel. But learn how to do that stuff, because there's nothing better than being self-reliant. I have a feeling right now in the country that self-reliant people are not liked very well. I have a feeling that there's a big part of our government that would like to squash self-reliant people like myself. People that can take care of themselves with or without their help. I'm not all for this letting the government take care of me in the future. That's not going to happen. And you shouldn't let it happen to you either. Be self-reliant. That's what this channel is all about. Be self-reliant. Don't let anyone take your rights away that keep you from being self-reliant. A self-reliant person is what a portion of our government is afraid of. And that's what this country was built on. Self-reliant people that can make something from nothing.